Hey, second grade, time for Charlotte's Web. You probably noticed I've been in a different room. I have been in our office in our house. We have a little office with a desk and some bookshelves and a lot of books that I've read. My husband went back to work, so he was working in here. That's why I had to go into Ben and Luke's bedrooms or in our living room, but he has gone back to work. So I am able to work in the office, which I really like. I like this comfortable, cushy chair, and I like it because it's nice and quiet in here, and I have all my books and supplies. So today we are on chapter 15 called The Crickets, and it's a very short chapter, only 5 pages. So we won't be together that long today. Here we go. The crickets sang in the grasses. They sang the song of summer's endless, sad song. Summer is over and gone. They sang over and gone, over and gone. Summer is gone. The crickets felt it was their duty to warn everybody that summer cannot last forever. Even on the most beautiful days in the whole year, the days when summer changes to fall, which are beautiful days, the crickets let everyone know that sadness is coming and change is coming because summer is over. Everyone heard the sounds of the crickets. Avery and Fern heard it as they walked the dusty road. They knew school would start soon. The young geese heard it, and they knew that they would never be young goslings again. Charlotte heard it, and she knew she didn't have much time left to save Wilbur's life. Mr. Zuckerman at work in the kitchen heard the crickets, and sadness came over her too. Another summer went by too quickly, she sighed. Lurvy was at work building a crate for Wilbur. He heard the song, and he knew that when the fall comes, the potatoes are ripe, so it was time to dig them out of the ground. Summer is over and gone, sang the crickets. How many nights, and there will be frost on the ground, sang the crickets. Goodbye, summer. Goodbye, goodbye. The sheep heard the crickets, and they felt so uneasy. They broke a hole in the fence and wandered up into the field and across the road. The gander discovered the hole and led his family through the hole, and they walked to the orchard and ate apples that were lying on the ground. A little maple tree heard the cricket song, and the leaves all turned bright red. Wilbur was now the center of attraction on the farm. Good food, regular hours were showing results. Wilbur was a pig that any owner would be proud of. One day more than 100 people came to stand in the yard and admire him. Charlotte had written the word radiant, and Wilbur really looked radiant as he stood in the golden sunlight. Ever since the spider had befriended him, he had done his best to live up to his reputation. When Charlotte's Web said some pig, Wilbur tried hard to look like some pig. When Charlotte's Web said terrific, Wilbur tried hard to look terrific. And now the web said radiant, and he did everything possible to make himself glow. It's not easy to look radiant, but Wilbur threw himself into it at will. He would turn his head slightly and blink his long eyelashes. And then he would breathe deeply. And when his audience got bored, he would spring into the air and do a backflip with a twist. At this, the crowd would yell and cheer. "How is that for a pig?" said Mr. Zuckerman, well pleased with himself. "This pig is radiant," he would say. Some of Wilbur's friends in the barn worried for fear that all this attention would go to Wilbur's head and he would become stuck up. But he never did. Wilbur was modest. Fame did not spoil him. He still worried about the future, as he could hardly believe that a spider could save his life. Sometimes at night he would have a bad dream. He would dream that men were coming to get him with knives and guns. But that was just a dream. In the daytime, Wilbur usually felt happy and confident. No pig had ever had truer friends, and he realized that friendship is one of the most satisfying things in the entire world. Even the song of the crickets did not make Wilbur too sad. He knew it was almost time for the fair, and he was looking forward to the trip. If he could distinguish himself at the fair and maybe win some prize money, he was sure the Zuckermans would not kill him and let him live. Charlotte had worries of her own, but she kept quiet about them. One morning, Wilbur asked her about the fair. "You're going with me, aren't you, Charlotte?" he said. "Well, I don't know," replied Charlotte. "The fair comes at a bad time for me. I shall find it inconvenient to leave here, even for a few days." "Why?" asked Wilbur. "Oh, I don't know. I just don't feel like leaving my web. Too much going on around here." "Please come with me," begged Wilbur. "I need you, Charlotte. I can't stand going to the fair without you. You just have to come." "No," said Charlotte. "I believe I better stay home and see if I can get some work done." "What kind of work?" asked Wilbur. "Egg laying. It's time I made an egg sack and filled it with my eggs." "I didn't know you could lay eggs," said Wilbur in amazement. "Oh, sure," said the spider. "I am versatile." "What does versatile mean?" "Does it mean full of eggs?" asked Wilbur. "Certainly not," said Charlotte. "Versatile means I can turn with ease from one thing to another. It means I don't limit my activities to just spinning and trapping." "Why don't you come with me to the fair and lay your eggs at the fair?" pleaded Wilbur. "It would be so much fun." Charlotte gave her web a twitch and watched it sway. "I'm afraid not," she said. "You don't know the first thing about laying eggs. Wilbur, I can't arrange for my family duties to suit the management of the fair. When I get ready to lay eggs, I have to lay eggs, fair or no fair. However, I don't want you to worry about it. If you worry, you might lose weight. We'll leave it this way. I will come to the fair if I'm able to." "Okay, good," said Wilbur. "I know you will not forsake me when I need you the most." All that day, Wilbur stayed inside, taking life easy, laying in the straw. Charlotte rested and ate a grasshopper. She knew that she couldn't help Wilbur much longer. In a few days, she would have to drop everything and build a beautiful little egg sack to hold her eggs. So I see the name of that's the end of chapter 15. And I see that the name was the crickets because the crickets were chirping. And yes, when we are in fall time, we hear the crickets chirping, and that signals that summer's over and fall is starting. And hopefully this fall, school will start and we will all be together again. Even though you'll be in the next classroom, you can still stop in and see me. And I thought there was a question. The county fair. So I was just curious if you have ever gone to the county fair. In Cuyahoga County, the county we live in, our fair is in Berea. Mrs. Fulop loves the fair because I said that I was born in the country. Most of my friends owned farms, so I am very familiar with farm animals, and I love to go to the fair and see the farm animals. So I used to always take my two sons to the fair, and where I grew up in a different county, and we would go to the fair every year when I was your age. I don't know if they're going to have the fair this year, which would be sad, but hopefully next year you'll be able to go to the fair. Maybe ask your parents if you can go. It's a fun place to see cows and pigs and sheep and geese, and there's tons of food and there's rides, and it's a great time. So, all right, second grade, I'll see you tomorrow for chapter 16. Take care.